A bit of problems this morning. Hello. I thought we weren't going to make it. Good morning and welcome to the Wise Why. This morning I am joined by a legend. I'm just going to lay it there. I am joined by Roy Cooper, who, wow, I remember hearing his name years and years and years ago when I worked at D-Link, and I didn't know who Roy was. And then I found out. Wow, what a ledge. I mean, seriously, this man celebrates the women. This man is the champion of us women in the security market. And you know what? This really is enough about me and enough about everything else. I'm going to shoot straight over to Roy. Roy, take the floor. Please tell the audience about yourself.
Well, good morning, Kirsty. Yes, first and foremost, you have to excuse the throat because I've got the dreaded man flu. So not COVID. I keep testing. It's not COVID. So it is man flu. So I'm going to die shortly. Hopefully not during this podcast. But anyway, I have to say, perhaps I don't need to do anything now because you've just introduced me as a legend. And maybe that's all I need. So, okay, Roy Cooper, Professional Security Magazine, about to celebrate next month my 50th year in the security industry. So, believe it or not, which is a long, long time. And that's at the point, Kirsty, when you say you don't look old enough. But anyway, never mind, you missed that.
I will come on with that in a minute. I don't like to interrupt the guest. So, Roy, okay. I cannot believe it. 50 years. How? Don't look old enough.
Yeah. Anyway, started as an apprentice. Do you remember those? Something that we're trying to get back to nowadays. Started as an apprentice with Chubb 50 years ago. Did that for 3 years. And in those days, as the apprentice, I used to teach the engineers because the engineers came from plumbing or from shop fitting or something, and now they were alarm engineers. So, and then, of course, worked my way through various different companies into CCTV sales, and then joined the magazine. It was 22 years ago, something like that. So yes, and here I am, so been running the magazine now for that length of time. It's 30 years old. Have a business partner who's retired, lives in Spain now, that's sitting no doubt at this very moment as we speak on this 65-foot Sunseeker, thinking, shall I have another glass of champagne or shall I have a coffee? So, so yeah, that's what I do. Been around for a while. Just means that, I'm an old git, that's all.
I wondered how long it would take before you got a slight swear word in there. I'm pretty impressed.
Oh, okay.
So
what, is the swear word old?
So I'm intrigued because something you just mentioned there about the apprentice coming back. And I mean, we're not talking about Lloyd Sugar here. That's completely different. But I've been looking at this and wondering as I expand, is it something that I can bring on? Because there is something really special. There are lots of people who are younger than me, let's do it that way, who aren't academic. They are much more vocational. I'm much more vocational. So can you explain what it was like being an apprentice? Because I find that fascinating, especially as I'm thinking of doing it.
Well, it was quite odd because my father was a tool maker. Worked at a manufacturing plant of making cars or trucks, in fact. And I was always going to do that. And I had 11 interviews. And one of those interviews was to go to Chubb. And of course, they started holding, there was a microwave in the corner that was going click, 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 click as we were moving around. And I was like, fascinated. All stand still. Right, now somebody move, click, click, click. Oh, blood, wow. So suddenly the idea of tool making was out the window, and I became an apprentice. And it was very odd because obviously, we were and had become, the future at that time as we are now. I'm still here 50 years later. I'm not too sure about some of the fellow apprentices that I was working with at the time. I haven't heard much. I know one of them lives in New Zealand now and is still working in the security industry. He carried on working with Chubb. Chubb moved him to Australia, but I believe he's now got his own company out there. So the thing about apprentices is, of course, it is the foundation for the future. And if you get them at that time, then it's good to keep them going through. So, but we did sort of. I don't think we drifted away. Over the years I've been doing this, we did drift away from having apprentices. And of course, recently we've got the apprenticeship schemes going. Simon Banks has got his apprenticeship thing, Skills for Security. We've got apprenticeship things going. it is a draw now to try and get the younger generation back into our industry, to train them up, and then hopefully they will become our future.
So that's quite a theme with you, isn't it? That bringing people in, nurturing them, and keeping them. Because we were talking just before we went live about the Women in Security Award and celebrating people. So can you explain a bit more about that? Because for some of these people, like Annette and Carl, Jeff, the other people will know, but Rabina and Annette won't know anything about the Women in Security Awards.
Okay, Una Riley was one of the first women to create an installation company in the security industry, and came across a lot of resistance because the majority, in fact, all of the people within security were men. So for about 12 years ago now, she came to me and said, look, there's nothing, we should create a Women in Security Awards where we can celebrate what the women are doing, because they're not being recognised at this stage. At that time, if you look at the SIA, Security Industry Authority's statistics, only 4% of the industry were women. So as a consequence, they weren't being nominated for awards, and there's loads of awards out there, as you appreciate. So therefore, not being recognised. So I thought it was a great idea. So we adopted it, and we brought in all the security associations, or as Una likes to call them, the industry leading bodies. So we brought all the chairs, or the MDs, or CEOs, whatever they are, of those associations, etc., into the fold, so that they became judges. So we're involved in the whole industry. Only open for nominations, only open for women. Didn't matter what their colour of skin was. Didn't matter what their sexual persuasion was. It was, what are they doing over and above what they're paid to do. Don't really want to if somebody's doing a great job, and there's lots of people out there employed that are doing a great job, that's great. Let the company reward them for that. We wanted to look at somebody and find people that were going over and above what their job, and there's loads of them. There's loads of women doing that. So as a consequence, we've been running 10 years, and those we started with 3 awards. We've now got 5 awards. So just as we got more into it, we felt that actually we had a sort of a business managers award, but we used to have 200 nominations just in that alone. In fact, we used to call it a managers award, and it was a security manager or a business manager. So we split that into 2, etc., so that so again, there's more opportunity for people to win. So it's been a champion for that for some time, and of course now we're into. We were talking earlier on about equality and diversity, the EDI. And to be fair, I think, well, we were there 10 years ago, so picking it up on it. And something that came out in I think at Dawn Holmes did yesterday, that people keep saying, where's the men in security awards? And all the other awards are available to the men. And so all the other awards that men are being nominated. We are now seeing some women being nominated for these awards, but it's still the minority. And if you look at the current SIA figures, still only 14% of the industry is women. So we've still got some way to go. But of course, the ultimate goal will be that one day we don't need the Women in Security Awards. So that would be nice, but we still need them at the moment. So
I will celebrate that day. I really will. So it's really interesting because you've had such an arc. I mean, really such an arc. Apprentice, on the tools, out there, doing regional sales, into head of sales, now running a magazine, and which you haven't talked about yet, not just the magazine, you also run an event.
Oh, well, not just one event, 9 events. So I mean the magazine has gone basically, when I first joined, it was just a printed magazine, and then of course started to have to get involved with the web, because that thing was becoming more and more appropriate, etc. So of course we spent a load of money on a website, which involves electronic newsletters. So a lot of people want to get their name out via the web or via the newsletters. And then I 10 years ago, when was it? 2013, I bumped into Liz Lloyd, who I went to an event that she was organising, and she was being made redundant. And I just said, after several glasses of wine, perhaps you should come and work for me. So, and of course, the following morning, she said, "Did you mean it?" And I thought, "Oh, I must stop drinking so much," So I said, "I'm going to do my business plan." But to be fair, I had many a customer, an advertiser say to us, you should run events. You've got this audience, you've got this captivated bunch of people that we could get out. Why don't you run events? And I didn't run events, didn't have the time. It's a full-time job. So anyway, Liz joined us, and we ran our first one in February 2013, and now we do 9 a year. So yeah, and we go all over the country. They're very, very successful, to be fair. And it's all about network.
Been to a few, and quite a few, and I love Liz. I absolutely adore her, and I didn't really, because obviously when I was working, I was kind of kept in the dark for a while, and then eventually, it's funny enough, as I was going to leave the industry and coming to set up my own, that's when I started to go, oh, I better go and say hello to people. And I met Liz, and she's on my Facebook, and I love her bar, and it's just really, and I think that's what people don't realize sometimes about the security industry is, although I'm now on the side of it, it's still very much a part of the family. We're still involved. I still talk to every single person that was part of my community and my tribe. And I think it's fabulous the way we all look after each other.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the thing is I use Facebook quite a lot, and I'm connected to thousands of people in the industry, of course. So I have to be careful not to stick any pictures of me and my budgie smugglers on the beach, because that's not what people want to see. But it's a great way of communicating with people. And of course, the other thing it does, which is sort of indirectly, is when I do go on holiday, which I do quite a bit, as you probably see, people know that. So my phone stops ringing because they know I'm on holiday because they follow me on Facebook. So yes, I know it is really, really good. And it's all it's all part of what we've got to do nowadays. I spend probably 2 hours a day on LinkedIn or Twitter or etc. Just sort of keeping up to date with stuff, rebroadcasting stuff like this, etc. So
yeah,
it's just all part of the job. It's all changed a bit. From the days when I first started, it was just a print magazine. We're now this massive corporate theme, if you like. With we've got shows, we've got awards, we've got the websites, we've got the social media. Oh, and we've still got a magazine that's still the largest in the industry. So yeah, it's good. It's really, really good.
I love the way that you've embraced that change, because we were talking before we came on air about me launching a business in the middle of a pandemic, which was probably a little bit crazy, but I've done it, and I had to use social media. And what I love about you is that when I was promoting you coming on the show, I could promote you on Facebook, I could promote you on Twitter, I could promote you on LinkedIn, and then now you're on my Linktree, and that will get you to Instagram. So I love the fact that you've embraced that movement of social media, because it is a powerful engine, and mostly, unless you want to pay for the advertising, it's organic growth, which people don't realize.
Yes. I've got to be honest, my wife, who's a school teacher, is a bit of an artist, as you've probably seen from Facebook, because I'm posting her paintings all the time. And she said to me, well, people keep telling me I need to get a Twitter account. So I said, yeah, darling, I can help you with that. I know a little bit about Twitter. So we set her up with a Twitter account, and within 2 weeks, she gets an order for 3 paintings. And I was gobsmacked, because I thought, what? I know I've said it works, but I didn't think it was that efficient. She actually got an order for 3 paintings from somebody who said, I love your paintings. Can I buy 3? Send 1 to my dad, 1 to my sister, and 1 to me. So there you go. Amazing.
Wow. Etsy, eat your heart out. Off you go. Go get that shop up.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, over the years, you've obviously had wise or aha moments. So let's look at and explore those aha moments. Have there been any way you've gone, aha, that's why I do this, or aha, I'm just intrigued?
Aha moments. I mean, I know you said to me before that there had been any aha moments, and I suppose we've already just talked about those. The aha moment when I sat at the dinner after several glasses of wine, talking to Liz and saying, "No, you should come and work for me," And then of course the following morning it was, we should do this, So, and here we are now, 9 shows a year down the road, sort of 10 years later. So, and the whiz thing was another So, so yeah, there's been quite a few of those, I suppose, over the years, So I don't have any times I regret. I don't think I've ever gone, well, that's not true. There's been a few times when I've gone, oh my God, as opposed to aha,
Mm-hmm.
And that was, for example, we turned up at an event once in Harrogate, and the taxi driver picked me up from the Leeds airport and drove me there. And when we pulled into the car park, there was barriers and hoarding all around the hotel. And he said to me, "Are you sure this is the hotel?" Yes. And they were in the middle of rebuilding the hotel, but had forgot to tell us. So it was unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it. So anyway, we pulled the event off. We had basically 24 hours to get rid of the builders and to get rid of the hoarding and to try and turn the hotel back into a hotel so we could run the event. But we did it. And, we shoved some of the stuff in the corner. We got builders building walls to hide building work that was going on, etc. So yeah, we got there. And during that running of that event, because it's like when they say when one thing goes wrong, it's all going to go wrong. In the same event, at the same venue, they had some kind of religious gathering. There was lots of people there with guitars and, hippie type thing, playing songs and singing hallelujah. But their PA system was on the same PA system as us. So we're in the middle of doing a conference and suddenly you got hallelujah. It's like, okay, and they had a coach load of pensioners arrive from Warner's, who pulled in, and we got a drinks reception going, and all the pensioners thought, "Oh, they put on free drink for us. Thank you very much." You couldn't make it up. But,
I'm imagining a Carry On film here. I can tell that we're more mature because I'm now back at Carry On, and actually that brings me to an interesting point that I really do want to touch on, is that we have a commonality, that's a good word for me at this time of the morning, where there is a place in a little village that I used to sing in the choir at, and you've been involved in. And I can't not mention it for the sake of my mum, because mum will listen to this. So everybody, yes, my mum watches the show. So my mum, Maggie Elkin and Peter Elkin got married in Tadworth Church. And then the first time I got married to, and last week I wasn't very fair, but he was a good man. I also got married the first time in Tadworth Church. And I believe you have a connection there.
Yeah, because I live around the corner from Tadworth Church. So I live in Tadworth. Yeah. And that's very bizarre. Very bizarre.
It's really strange. I only found that out a couple of months ago, and I went, "Oh my goodness!" And then this whole thing happened where it turned out that the people who knew me when I was a very precocious, quiet child, you also know. So I dread to think what stories would come out if you actually ask. In fact, don't. Just don't. I was quite precocious.
Well, just send a check and it'll be fine.
Thank you. We've had some brilliant comments coming in. I'm just going to do the glasses, which you can explain why you don't need them.
Yeah, because I've had my cataracts done. So the oldest man on the block, but I'm the one that doesn't need glasses. So when they do your cataracts, they take the cataract out and they put lenses in their places. So I recommend it. Anybody who hasn't done it, do it. Better than laser treatment because it lasts forever.
So I am jealous of that. We've had some lovely comments. So Gillian Williams, who you won't know, says apprenticeships are the best option for so many young people. Universities have places, but companies often want young people with practical skills and industry experience, which I think is a really lovely thing. We've had Mark Wall. I'm not going to repeat that, Mark, but yes, good morning, old. And we won't say the other
Morning, Mark. Morning, Mark. Turn your shirt down, please.
Haley Joseph says, my amazing 16-year-old is open to apprenticeship opportunities. I'd love to get her into the industry. So there's some really lovely things. And Carl says the amount of people Roy has helped in the industry is countless. As I said, this is a legend this morning. We will not forget him making a connection for me, which helped my security career. Roy, on that, I have to do this because that is... I have heard that about you so many times along the way, where somebody has been made redundant, Liz being one of them, and you've swooped in and you've picked them up and you've helped them and you've supported them and you've carried them and you've helped them find the next role. There are not many people out there that actually genuinely swoop in and care, and you are one of those people. You can take that.
I just think it needs to, it doesn't cost anything to be nice and to be helpful, and I have an endless list of contacts. So if I can, I will, and I will. Doesn't matter who they are. But yeah, and Haley, you need to get hold of David Scott from Skills for Security, or get hold of Simon Banks at CSL, and most certainly get her daughter into the industry. Most certainly easy to do.
So Over the years, through your events, you've run lots of money for charity. Yeah, not one. You've raised lots of money for charity, and I think I was reading it was 20,000 a year.
Well, yeah, to be fair, that's a figure that we just sort of like stabbed in the dark, really, because sometimes I've actually raised 20, 30,000 at one event. So, over the years, it's been quite a lot of money. Yeah, and I just had this thought. We've got a networking dinner, which we're now calling a charity dinner. But a lot of people are there and haven't paid, and so why not just put a raffle on where all the manufacturers, like the one you used to work for, are good at giving us prizes, So, I've learned over the years, it doesn't really matter what the charity is, but these they just want to get involved. I have learned that if it involves children, there seems to be more giving. So, they seem to pull on the heartstrings a lot better than others. So, so got this bunch of people in a room. Let's raise money. I mean, the last one that we was at in Birmingham, 4,500 that we raised just for that one show alone. So it works well. And, and as you can tell, I'm quite shy behind a microphone. So,
Yeah, we're very similar on that, aren't we? We are so
we
shy,
are, yeah.
retiring.
We are.
Yeah, you'll find us against the wall. Who has, I'm going to rephrase that actually. I just realised how bad that sounded.
Yeah.
I meant hugging. No, I'm going to stop because I can feel
Leave
like I'm
it, move on.
Leave it. Who has helped you along the way?
Who's helped me along the way? Well, there's a few people that have helped me along the way, to be fair. There's a guy that I've mentioned who's called Mike Hawker. He was the MD at One Alarms where I worked for some time. He's probably my mentor. I used to look up to him. He used to walk into a room without touching the floor. Never know how he did that, but he used to hover into a room, So he always helped me along the way because I thought, he's just a genuinely nice guy. And that's what I want to be, John Cully, I have to mention John Cully because he gave me the opportunity to come to the magazine. He nagged me for 5 years to come here, and I kept saying, it's not what I do. I sell CCTV and burglar alarms, So he's now sat in his yacht in Spain, enjoying life. So yeah, there's a few people along the way that I've helped. But to be fair, most of the industry, I like to call the industry my mates. Most of the people are my mates, and my mates help me along the way, because they support me and look after me, and that's why I am where I am. So thanks to all my mates.
I genuinely love it. I really do. I can't explain what it's like to walk into one of your events, especially now. Obviously, I've got quite a big kind of people know who I am now. It's not like I can hide, but it's just that warmth, that inclusivity. And it is sometimes hard as a woman in a very male-dominated environment to feel safe and accepted. And in your events, I really do. And in the community, as you can see with all the comments coming on here, I feel really included and accepted. And it's really lovely because I was quite different to the people that usually are in the security industry because I come from an acting background. So here I was, this crazy person that everyone went, ooh, she's a bit weird. And yeah, I was embraced and welcomed. So thanks to you and thanks to the mates for accepting me. So this is where we get to turn it around, and I get to hope that you're not going to put me on the spot with a horrendous question that I cannot answer. So please take the floor and throw something at me and see if I can answer a question.
Okay, well, the first hint I had that you wanted a question was when I saw Haley's comments the other day. I'll be interested to see what question he's going to ask you. And I thought, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. So, all right, here you go then. Just never been one to be put on the spot. So you were, I perceive you were very successful at Hanwell, still wearing the corporate colours, as we can see. So why leave that to do this?
So I looked at, and this is a dilemma that hits most mums. How do you work the school hours around a sales job that was very demanding? And I was in a position where the next step for me was to go up the corporate ladder, and I really wanted that challenge. I wanted to control that budget. I wanted to look at the channel comms. I wanted to look at the pricing. I wanted to do the forecasting. I wanted to do that big business proposition. but I didn't have the time because I also have a child in primary school, and I couldn't do the big demanding job for a corporate and be a focused and what's the word I want to look for? It's not focused. It's not going to come. Anyway, I wanted to be there for my daughter. I wanted to be the person who picked her up from school and took her swimming. So things happened. My husband got offered a job which was going to take us abroad. I didn't go, and I looked at my skill set, and what I originally set up isn't what I do now, but what I do now I absolutely love, because I can help people. I can control my diary. I haven't got the pressure from the big corp. I have the pressure that I put on myself, and I do have a target, and I do have a business plan, and I have a structure in what I'm doing and where I'm going with it, because the whole point is to get to a long-term goal, to build up a place that you will have a safe place for people who were like me, who found themselves homeless and on the streets. So there's a flip side to what I'm doing, that there is a long-term goal. But this opening doors consultancy, public speaking on camera, was one to give back because I can, and I have the acting skills and the information needed to pass on to somebody who needs to learn to speak, learn to present properly. You and I can do this naturally, but most people, the idea of going on camera fills them with fear, loathing, anxiety, and they will not do it. It is like it takes a lot, whereas I can take all that pain away. So that's why I do what I do. But ultimately, it was because there was not a job, like many mums, that would allow me to be at the school gates. And there you go.
Yep, I get it. Well, congratulations, because it appears to be going quite well.
It is. I've just launched my first webinar, so I'm quite excited. And like many people, I suffered with that, I'm charging a lot of money, but actually what I'm charging for is a fifth of the price it would cost somebody to spend the time with me face to face. So the cost of the webinar, whilst it seems expensive, actually what I'm giving you is a top-down look at what public speaking on camera really is. And you're going to get that, what would be 3 sessions or a full day if you're a corporate, and you're going to get that in 45 minutes. So someone said, stop it, that's your money mindset. So learned a lot in the last year.
Okay, well, jolly good. Well, if any of my customers out there are wanting to do webinars, then there you go. Kirsty's your man.
I am. Well, the thing is, people are doing, and that's an interesting point to finish on. There's lots of people, lots of companies who are doing webinars, but they're doing them badly. Really badly. Yep. They are monotoned in the delivery. They're selling particularly when it comes to tech, they're talking about the features, but they're not selling the benefits of the features. They're not putting a story behind the webinar. So they're going out to the customer and they're presenting a webinar, which people are then just turning the screens off and going off and doing something else whilst it's on in the background. And that is such a shame. And if you come to me, I'll make sure that you know how to do that webinar and, hit those marks and make it really all singing or dancing. So that's what I offer.
Isn't it surprising, though, that people, especially, with the webinars, a lot of companies I see, they get a salesman to do it, and it's not what they're good at, really. But it's also interesting that people don't actually appreciate the difference between a feature and a benefit. And people talk about benefits, for example, and ignore the cup, but the cup here that has a handle. Okay, so the feature is a handle. The benefit is you can hold the cup without burning your hand. But if you've got a hook, it does that. So it's not a benefit, it's a feature. So,
absolutely. Anyway. You've done my job for me.
There you go.
But that is why I've sat through webinars where I've just gone, no, please come to me. I'll even help you for free. Please spend an hour with me and let me help you make that colourful. And particularly when it comes to going on camera, you actually have to strip back a lot, and people do more, and they hear this. I wrote a whole article about that. Go read it. It says, stop being a D apostrophe. No, it's not an apostrophe, exclamation mark. D exclamation mark CK on camera. Have a look at that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Can't think enough. Oh, Gillen. So also, if you do want to do some video marketing, Gillen's your man. So tap him up as well because he's a really good videographer. Thank you so much for your time, Roy. It's been an absolute pleasure. Great question, and thank you.
It's been my pleasure as well. And the one thing that I was worried about all the way through this was that the BMW man was going to knock on the door and say, "Can I have your car?" Because he's coming, and he hasn't knocked on. He's supposed to be here at 8:30. So there you go. That's customer service for you.
Thank you.